We all know that fasting burns fat, but does it burn muscle? That is the biggest fear, and I wasn't willing to guess. So I tracked myself for 15 days. 5 days of prep, 5 days of no food, and 5 days of refeed and reconstruction to see if I could lose belly fat.
You're going to lose a lot of muscle mass
without losing my strength.
Okay, it's day -5 and I'm going to measure myself. I know people are obsessed with scales and how much they weigh, but I'm much more interested in actual tape measurements and caliper measurements, and that's what I'm going to start with. So if we just look at the love handle, we got what? About 10 millimeters of love. The size at the belly button, just put on lower back, relax, that's what people see, right? Got about 37 inches. And yes, I'm going to weigh myself, sure. I know everyone wants to see some scale results. Well, it's 172. All right, we'll see how that changes. Our next stop, you would never guess it, but see you there.
And here we are. Most people, when they start fasting, they just stop eating. But I'm going to do it a little bit different. The first thing I'm doing before fasting, I do some food shopping. Because like you need a warm-up before a heavy exercise, you need some ketogenic warm-up before a long fast. Let's go get us some avocados.
Look, I think this cart is waiting for us.
Water fasting. It is very good for you, but also it is very hard. And it used to be pretty common through the human evolution, but somewhere during last 100 years we've lost the skill, so to speak, which is unfortunate because it boosts autophagy, the internal cleanup. It removes precancerous metabolically compromised cells. It improves insulin sensitivity, which underline cancer, dementia, and heart disease. So I'm going to attempt a 5-day water fast, but I'm going to use a few tricks to hopefully, fingers crossed, make it a little bit easier on myself. And I already know that I have several challenges ahead. I play drums in 2 rock bands, and I'll have to perform. Also, last but not least, I don't want to lose any muscles. That's probably the biggest downside of water fasting I can think about. So at the end of the fast, I'm going to challenge myself to the maximum pull-ups, and we'll compare them to what I can do right now. Let's see what I can do. But first, and it's very important, you gotta warm up. All right. No guts, no glory. All right, 13, I think. And my other 2 favorites, which I usually buy online, are baby sardines in olive oil. And I think I just received a package from Amazon. Yes. Organic raw walnuts. Absolutely amazing as well. Yeah, if you're on a rush, these are extremely handy. It's a protein, all the fats you need, and fiber, and pretty much almost no saturated fat. And tomorrow we'll do some keto cooking, like keto bread, to make this all even better. Another beautiful day, and let's start with taking some measurements. Have I lost any fat? No, of course I didn't. But let's see what happened with the scales. And that would be a good reminder for everyone that scales are not really your friend. I lost 2 pounds since yesterday. And this is just water weight, so let's ignore the scales, right?
and focus on measurements. But in any case, let's continue with keto, and I'm going to show you a couple recipes I use a lot when I do keto. So the easiest and fastest option would be to have a green omelet and top it off with avocado and maybe some salmon. But I feel like I want something crunchy, I want a toast. And to do that, we can put the same 2 eggs into a cup with almond flour and baking powder. And then all you need is a microwave for about a minute and toast them. So let's do that. Fasting isn't just a weight loss tool, it's a complete system reboot. But right now, my body runs mostly on sugar. And if I start fasting, I lose my main energy source without any time to prepare the system, like it usually happened in human history. So my goal for the next few days is very specific. I need to get my blood ketones above 1.0 while I'm still eating, to mimic that natural lack of food in spring. Once I hit that number, I know I'm well into the transition, and only then it is safe to start. Because otherwise I risk eating my muscles instead of my fat. Olive oil. Just look at them. And here we go. We have fats, we have proteins, we have plenty of fiber, everything what we need. Soon it will be time to measure the ketones, just not yet. Okay, it's a 3rd day with low carb, and I already feel like a metallic taste on my mouth. So I should probably go and check. Haha, funny. I weighed more today than yesterday. But in any case, next step, I'm going to check my ketones, I think at least on my breath, or maybe do a blood test as well. Let's see how high the ketones are. So this little guy is a brass ketone analyzer. Come as you are. Okay, looks like I need both hands to open it. Here we go. I also have blood ketone analyzers, so probably tomorrow I'm going to check them side by side. But for today, let's see. Oh, it has to be charged first. So I'm going to charge it and then we'll see. All right, let's use this ketometer. What it will tell us. Preparing. And then I'm going to check my blood sugar. Unfortunately, I'm out of ketone strips, so I have new ones on order. Hopefully they'll come soon. And then they compare what this tells me is blood test. But for now, I'll just rely on the breathometer. Okay, press start and blow. Success. Moderate. Okay, well, that's A, good, and B, pretty much how I feel. So ideally, of course, I want to be a little higher than the middle before I run into full ketosis. Okay, stop it. So now let's bleed. Oh. Well, if I want to play guitar tonight, I should use another hand. Shoot. Not enough blood, not enough blood. Let's make another hole. Oh, now we're bleeding. Pretty high. Have a couple old ketone strips. I'm curious to see what they tell us. Very mild ketosis, but those strips cannot be trusted. Alright, time to eat something. Okay, last day on the ketogenic side of my keto fasting sandwich. But look what happened with my sleeping stats. My resting heart rate really went down. HRV went up. But unfortunately, because it will not last,
Now when I start to fast, they will all crash down. And when they
really get down, well, I guess then it will be time to stop and transition back to refeeding. Oh, okay. It's the last supper. Fatty tuna, avocado, all keto. No food for 5 days. It was such a great meal. The only thing left for today is to burn off some glycogen with HIIT training. So let's, oh yes, let's and repeat that tomorrow, and we'll be ready to rock and roll. All right, the first day of water fast. I'm aiming for 5 days, but sometimes I go easy, sometimes I go hard. So I will be monitoring how I feel and will act depending on that. Because generally I don't want fasts to be overly hard. I don't want to associate them with something extremely hard in my head. I'd rather, if I feel bad for some reason, I'd rather refeed and then try again later than suffer. Makes sense, right? But anyway, what's important that we have started. All right, let's measure my ketones and blood sugar and everything else. Let's check our ketones today using Keto module. Okay, 1.3, good stuff. Let's compare that with this guy. Oh, they're pretty close. 1.2, 1.3, and at the final test, I'm going to use this 34, high. All right, that's first day of fast, and see, I'm already running, well, high. So it's not really high, but it's still decent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I hope I'm recording. Am I? People always ask, will coffee break my fast? Will creamer break my fast? But of course, the right question is, why are you fasting in the first place? Because if you do it for weight loss or for longevity purposes, it's all about calorie deficit and about deficit of amino acids. And 1 spoon of creamer is not going to affect that in any significant way. You have pounds of biome in the flow, you have stores of glycogen in your muscles and in your liver, and liver produces blood sugar continuously with gluconeogenesis. There is such thing as fasting mimicking diet, where you can eat 500 calories a day and it still works great. So, what can I say? If 1 spoon of creamer will make your fast easier and will help you to do it more often or do it for longer, don't worry about it and just enjoy the flow. Yeah. It is still the first day of fasting and we are not done yet. Now I'm going to burn off some glycogen, and I think this hill should do nicely. And are we done for today? No, we are not. There is at least one more thing to do. And that one more thing is a little bit of exercise. As I said before, your liver continuously produces new sugar. And it can do it from 2 sources, amino acids or fat. And that's actually where all this ketogenic prep pays again, because you already know how to make sugar out of fat, not just your muscles. But I still want to remind my body to direct amino acids into muscle upkeep and not to waste it on sugar. And for that, light exercise is the best thing you can do. Nothing crazy, maybe like to 50 or even 30% of my usual capacity, just to get that flow. Normally I would do 12 of this, all right? Or maybe even 13 as we maxed out before. But I think for a fasting day, a couple sets of 6, or is it already 7? Should be good enough. Then I'll do my legs. maybe a little bit of chest and a little bit of abs. Repeat it a couple times. And hopefully that's all for today. The interesting thing, when you fast, the day is so much longer. Maybe because you're not eating. And it can be a bad thing, or it can be a good thing if you have some things to do. Second day of fasting has started. It's usually the toughest, but so far, feeling okay. Of course, I'm having a rock band rehearsal tonight where I play drums, and we'll see if I survive that or not. Yesterday night, I did a mistake. I went to sleep cold, which I'm going to correct tonight. Yikes. Ketones 2.2. Okay, sugar is 82, and the meter is... Yeah, you see? I think I just went as high, almost as high as it gets. I got lucky. We spent all evening rehearsal time wiring and rewiring our monitor mixing box, creating all the labels on it, and as a result, they haven't played, so I got spared. But I'm going to have a big one on Thursday, so we'll continue there. Okay, not repeating yesterday's mistake. I went to sleep cold. Let's get us some hot bath. Let's get them some salt. Oh, yeah. Good sleep. All right, yeah, to day 3. If I stand up quickly, well, there is a little bit of dizziness, but manageable. Very questionable aftertaste in my mouth. My guess is I'm out of glycogen stores and running pretty much on my own fat, so there is some acetone buildup. Okay, let's feed the monster. 7, 6, 5. Did I press record? That's some darn high ketones, 6.2. So I felt it correct. In a way, I can work now with my own ketone meter. Okay, let's see what I have in blood sugar. Probably in the 60s, but that's actually hard to say. But in a way, it means that I have reached that point in the whole body. Yeah, 57. So I guess it's experience. Right now, it's time to do some resistance training. Day 4. I feel actually quite good, but lazy at the same time. I don't know how. There is no weird aftertaste in my mouth anymore. And I think the only big challenge I had today is a rock band rehearsal. No chance I'm skipping it today. And it's going to be 2 hours of exercise in a way. Let's see, yesterday I had 6.2. And today, interesting. And today we have 4.7. Maybe I'm utilizing them better, and that's why I feel better. Anyway, we'll see how that rehearsal will go. I'll update you from there. It's 3 hours and 47 minutes. And I'm still alive. What a day. Well, tomorrow is going to be day number 5. And it will be exactly, what, 24 times 5, 120 hours during the day. So, it's time to get some bone broth and start defrosting. Tomorrow, in the afternoon, it will be time to break my fast and enjoy the life on level 10. No, level 11. And so, it's day 5, and life is good. but my HRV has fallen below the baseline, which means it is time to refeed. So I'll probably wait till afternoon when it will be 120 hours of not eating, and we'll start to slowly refeed with that broth. All right, last checkup. Yikes. 55. Okay, yeah, that's why I have so much energy. My sugar has risen and ketone has risen. So it's a good time to exercise. Slowly down. Hold. Full up. 1, 2. I'm kind of tempted to try my max, but I don't want to damage my muscles so much because that bone broth might be okay, but it's probably not enough to fully recover. So doing 50% anyway. Yeah, today is definitely a very energetic day. So I'm hunting for my lunch. Kill confirmed. Bloop, bloop. Yeah. Cheers. Alrighty, today is the first day of recovery. Yesterday I ate about 200 calories of bone broth and several olives. So today I'm going to double on that. And I guess technically, well, I don't know, technically I'm still fasting, like in fasting mimicking diet. I'm just trying to minimize the muscle loss while still boosting my autophagy. And I'm going to repeat and double the amount of calories through several days. And then we'll see if I can repeat my pull-up score. That's going to be fun. Clean up. Well, this weekend I'm volunteering in a kids camp. And we are cleaning the grounds. Mostly from roots like this, with very nice tools. And unlike drumming, it's actually not the best idea to do on low blood sugar. Yeah, it's tough. So I have to take frequent breaks and do it kinda lazy. But better than nothing. Alright, the fasting adventure is almost over. It's time to go over the results, make a few final measurements, and then see if I can sustain that my initial pull-up effort. Hopefully I'm still there. Yeah, I'm still in a little bit of ketosis. But overall, the fasting was, I think, a great success. Clear mind through all of it, a lot of energy. And that's what you want, right? To have an easy experience which you can repeat soon.
Oh, come on, in 100, what? 165. All right, and a little bit of fat loss.
As I have said on multiple occasions, scale is not your friend, but measuring tape is. And if I just relax, so I have lost about 1.5 inches here, and with calipers, all right, I'm about at 7, which is good. Now, the final part, let's see if I can do the same pull-ups. All right, no guts, no glory. Of course, I have lost about 5 to 7 pounds, so I'm going to compensate for that a little bit with weighted vest. I think it's going to give me just about 7 pounds of extra weight. And we'll see. Of course, it's not super convenient, but you know what you can do. I've already warmed up a little bit, so here we go. Hopefully I can do 13 or at least 12. One more! Yes! Anyway, if you want to learn more about fasting, how to avoid all the mistakes and the best tips I have collected in the last 1 year, check this video and your next fast will be as easy, hopefully, as mine. See you there.